Hi there. Today we're looking at GpsPrune and comparing some basic editing features with those of Garmin BaseCamp. There's a video by a GPS training showing how to crop a track with BaseCamp. So in this video we'll do the same edits using GpsPrune to show the differences. Here's how it looks in BaseCamp. And here's some background information from Wikipedia about the walk. It's quite long, so we want to cut out just one section. We'll start in the same way as the other video, by going to the website of the Walking Englishman, finding the GPX file, and downloading it to our computer. This file is now saved to the Downloads directory. Now we go to the GpsPrune window, choose to open a file, go into the Downloads directory and select the file we just saved. And there's the map view, with a track shown in blue, and we can zoom out and pan around to see where we are. So far it looks similar to BaseCamp, but we can look up the altitudes of the points here to see the profile. If we're interested in the highest point, we can use the point menu to go there, and we can see that the western side is higher. If we scroll through the points using the keyboard, we can see that it starts in Jedburgh and goes clockwise. So what we'd like to do now is to extract a particular part of this route, and we'll take the same section used in the GPS training video. We don't want the whole route, we just want the bit from Newtown, which is about here, to Jedburgh Bridge, which is about here. And there are a few ways to do this. One way is to split the track into 3 segments, as follows. We zoom into Newtown, and we can see the individual track points and the arrows between them. To select a point we just click on it, and we can see it in the profile too. To split the track, we want this point to be the start of a new segment, so we toggle its segment flag. And when we zoom out, we can see the 2 segments shown in different colors. Then we do the same thing again for the end point, zooming into Jedburgh Bridge and selecting the point we want to be the start of the 3rd segment. We toggle the segment flag of this point too, and now we've got 3 segments. But actually we only want to keep the middle one. The next thing to do is to delete the 1st and 3rd segments. We select a point in the 1st segment, select this whole segment, and then delete the selected range. And then we do the same for the 3rd segment to delete this too. Now we've got the cropped track, just like the one from BaseCamp, and we want to send it to our GPS receiver. This part is different from BaseCamp though, because GpsPrune just exports a GPX file. The directory that we're exporting to is just on the GPS rather than on the PC. So we say we want to export a GPX file, we give it a name, and then we navigate to the directory offered by the GPS receiver. The name we gave is used by the GPS, and the name is also suggested as a file name. And that's it, the file is saved, and we can check that it's there in the file view. So at this point we're done, we've replicated the flow of BaseCamp and used segments to split the track, and we've sent the result to our GPS receiver. But I think maybe this isn't the best or quickest way to do this editing, so I'd like to show a different way that's maybe more intuitive. So first I'm going to reload the original track, and look up the altitudes again, to go back to where we were. Great, so we're back to the whole loop. Now I'd like to use the analogy of a text file, and think how would we do the same kind of edit with a simple text file? Imagine we just want the middle bit of a block of text. Effectively what we just did with the segments would be like inserting line breaks to split the text into 3 lines, and then deleting the 1st and 3rd line. This works, but it's not the most obvious way to do it, so what's more natural? Another way would be to click at the first break, and select and delete everything before it. Then click at the end point, and select and delete everything after that. We don't really need to split any segments. So let's try this with GpsPrune. Click on the point before Newtown, select everything before this point, and delete the range. Then click on the point after Jedfoot Bridge, select everything from that point onwards, and delete all those too. That's simpler, and requires fewer clicks, and that gives the same result as before, just a bit simpler and without the segment splitting. But there's another way which is even simpler, so I'll quickly show this one too. Let's go back to our text file and think how we would select just the bit we want instead of selecting the bits we don't want. With text, I might click the start of the section I want, and then shift-click somewhere else to define my selection. And I can shift-click another point to change the selection. Once I've selected the bit I want, then I can crop the text to just contain the bit I want to keep. And it's the same idea with GpsPrune. I can click the start point, then shift-click the end point, and then crop the track. So let's just undo those last two deletes to give me the whole loop again, zoom into Newtown and select my start point. Then I go over to the bridge and shift-click where I want my selection to end, and this gives me the selection highlighted in green. Then I just need to crop the track to only contain my selection. So again, we've got the same result as before but maybe a little more intuitive. Another useful feature which can be used here is the alternative map layers showing walking routes. If we switch maps, we can verify that our route does indeed follow the Borders Abbeys Way as marked in blue on the map. As expected, it follows the markings almost exactly. And we can see another route in the same area, which might be interesting for us too. We might be able to use this St. Cuthbert's Way to turn our section into a loop. So if we wanted, we could draw along this section to extend our route. Okay, so that's it. We've seen a few different ways of how to crop a track with GpsPrune, and we've sent the result to a GPS receiver. We've seen some similarities with BaseCamp, and certainly some differences too. Thanks very much for watching.